We're going to continue to release batches of prisoners, according to this administration, with no plan, and the extreme likelihood that approximately 1 out of every 3 of them will re-enter the fight. We owe the men and women who are serving in the military better protection than that.
Senator John McCain urging the White House to stop releasing detainees out of Gitmo. Republicans want a new law warning many of the detainees will wind up back on the battlefield. There's some breaking news on that in a moment, too, from the State Department. First, Republican Senator John Barrasso, chairman of the Republican Policy Committee. Senator, good morning to you, and welcome
Thanks
back
for having
to
me, Bill.
America's Newsroom. You think the American people are in the dark about the risks to the homeland on Gitmo. What do you want done now?
It's time to call a timeout on releases of these most dangerous individuals today and for the next 2 years until Barack Obama leaves the White House. My concern is the safety of the American people. We know that the president made a campaign promise years ago to close Gitmo. I think it was a mistake. His press secretary yesterday said he thinks it's in the best national interest and our national security to close it. I disagree completely. I think it puts Americans at risk as we send these hardened criminals out of Gitmo, and I believe many will go back into the fight.
Here are the numbers at Gitmo: 127 detainees at Gitmo. And of those 127, 81 are from the country of Yemen. Now, this legislation would specifically bar Yemenis from going back for at least a period of 2 years. And you know Al-Qaeda in Yemen, the Arabian Peninsula, has claimed attacks in Paris, the funding and the financing. So what are you going to do with 81 of 127 in Gitmo?
I would say keep them in Guantanamo Bay. It is the best and safest place for Americans to have them kept. When the president does his releases, and they've been quickening the releases, 30 released in the last year, it's in an effort to draw down the population at Gitmo to the point where you say it cannot be sustained and needs to be closed. We want to prevent that. We want to keep these detainees exactly where they are. We know that when they're released, there may be some surveillance, but just for a short period of time. Even the Taliban 5 that have been sent to Qatar, it's only for a year. And yes, there is some surveillance there. I've been to that country, visited with our ambassador there, as well as the leaders there. The Taliban demanded, in the exchange for Bergdahl, that those 5 be sent to that country, because within a year they're going to be released back to Afghanistan, and the threat is back into the fight.
John McCain just said at least a third, or about a third, I believe was the quote, return to the fight. There's an official from the State Department that put out this just a few moments ago. Since 2009 now, Senator, they claim it's in the single digits. The confirmed number of re-engagement was 6.8%, while the detainees suspected of re-engaging was 1.1%. That is exceedingly low, and a number I have not seen that low before. Do you argue with that number?
No, I would argue with that number. I've seen numbers as high as 100 confirmed detainees who've been released over the extent of Gitmo back in the fight, with another 100 suspected as back into the fight. So we're going to look into those numbers, but suffice it to say, the people right now at Gitmo are the hardest of the hardcore. They have sworn to go after us. The safest place for America, and my concern is the security and safety of the American people, the safest place for those detainees is to remain right there. Don't forget, a big point of the friction between former Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel and the White House was they wanted him to sign off on the release of detainees. It's the job of the Secretary of Defense. And as the White House wanted to release more and more, it became a bigger and bigger source of that friction.
So you know, though, that the White House and this president wants to close Gitmo. He's got 2 years to do it. Will it happen or not?
We're going to do everything we can in Congress to prevent it. He wanted to do it immediately upon becoming president. He's been in the White House for 6 years. But we've stopped it for 6 years. We're going to continue that fight.
Will it happen or not, Senator?
Everything that we can do is to keep it open, keep those hardened criminals there until after Barack Obama leaves the White House, and then beyond that as well.
Thank you for your time. Republican
Thanks,
John
Bill.
Barrasso, you bet. Senator from Wyoming. Thank you.